Mama Assumpta was a poor widow who had no child of her own. She lived in a small village community where people would mock her because of her childlessness. Women would gossip in corners and make mockery of her. She was a very kind hearted woman who showed love and compassion to everybody around her. One fateful morning, villagers got up by a shout coming from the other end of the village. It was a shocking scenario that morning because such a thing has never happened in that village. A woman just discovered two young boys aged 2 and 4 sleeping by the side of the road that leads to the stream. It was 6 a.m. in the morning and the village was still quiet. She was frightened to see children sleeping in the bush path leading to the stream. She screamed and villagers came out to witness what was happening. They found the children and upon investigation it shows they have been abandoned. These children were not from that village, so nobody knew them. All the villagers refused taking these children into their homes. Some said they might be possessed, others said they might be evil children, and so on. Mama Assumpta had left earlier for farm when all these were happening. Upon her return, she heard what happened and she hurried to where these children were seated, took them to her hut, prepared food, and they ate together. She was so happy and thanked God for finally giving her her own children. She named the younger one Desmond and the older one Simon. Whenever she sits outside to eat or play with her new family, the villagers will mock them, calling them family of witches. Mama Assumpta was poor and barely had money to buy proper clothes or shoes for the boys. Days passed, weeks passed, and so was years. Mama worked hard in the farm to ensure Desmond and Simon go to school, even though they had no shoes. But they could boast of every book they needed in school. Before going to farm each morning, Mama would take them to school. Even before they get home from school, she will be waiting happily to welcome them. Finally, they both graduated from college and had scholarship to study in the city. While in the city, Mama Assumpta would send food and little sums of money she could afford. Upon their graduation, Simon and Desmond both got themselves high-paid jobs. This was when things changed. Mama Assumpta could barely hear from the boys anymore. Simon had an offshore job where he could go for months without coming back home. Desmond, the younger one, had joined a group of big boys where all they do is party and humanize. He ignores calls and messages from Mama, but he would tell his brother all is well with Mama in the village whenever Simon calls to find out how she is doing. Mama Assumpta's strength was gone. It was time for her children to support her, but Desmond would not give Mama any money. Even money that was sent by his elder brother Simon, he would squander it. Mama Assumpta suddenly fell sick and could not even afford to pay for treatment in the local hospital in the village. She had no food to eat nor someone to look after her. She tried reaching out to her sons to no avail. She asked people to reach out to them, but Desmond, the younger one, said she was just pretending to bring them back to that poverty-stricken village. Few weeks later, after failing to get help from her sons, Mama Assumpta passed away. News got to Desmond, her younger son, that Mama had died. That was when it dawned on him that he had been a bad son and didn't treat Mama right. He wept bitterly and uncontrollably. He called his brother Simon to inform him of Mama's passing. Simon could not comprehend such news. He was devastated and broken. He wept as he asked many questions of what happened. Few days later, they all went to the village for burial. They intended to carry the corpse to the city to do a big burial ceremony. As the coffin was boarded on top of the bus that would carry it to the city, and as they were about leaving the compound, the coffin fell off the bus. Villagers screamed, some were shouting, people mocked at them, calling them ungrateful, selfish, and wicked boys. You couldn't take care of the woman who suffered for both of you, but now that she's gone, you've come with expensive coffin to bury her and lots of food. Some said Mama Assumpta is not happy with them and doesn't want to be taken to the city. That's why the coffin fell off. They didn't take her to the city when she was alive. Why now? As the insults kept pouring, Desmond and Simon couldn't hold their shame and regret as they felt disgraced and ridiculed in front of their friends that came to the village for the burial. They knelt by the coffin, apologizing to Mama Assumpta, who was gone. This is medicine after death, someone shouted. Another person said, there is no repentance in the grave. She sacrificed for you, but you weren't there for her when she needed you. This is the guilt you will live with all through your life. I pray you find peace. Do you think Mama Assumpta will forgive the boys? Do you think Mama is really angry with the boys? That is why the coffin fell off? Drop your opinions in the comment section. Moral of this story: always remember the people who have helped you along the way and don't forget to lift someone up. Follow Bonfire Stories on YouTube and Facebook for more amazing stories. Thank you for watching.